I grew up in Suttons Bay, Michigan. It's a small village north of Traverse City. My father was a Lutheran minister. He was called there in 1919. I was 2 years old. Well, I suppose the one thing that impacted was the Depression when it hit, 28. I was 12 years old at the time. And by the time 1930 came along, it began to, all of a sudden it began to tighten up. And 32, of course, it was pretty bad when Roosevelt came in. Our little bank closed, and that was boy, that really bothered everybody. There was deep, deep depression, mental despair in the whole town, I felt. I still remember that as a young kid. And the feeling that nothing was ever going to grow again. There was a feeling that the good times were over and they were not going to come back. I decided I wanted to get out to the college, go somewhere and get an education, and I sent for a brochure on the University of Michigan. Why, I don't know, I just had an hankering to do that. And I got a job with the WPA had a program out that time, a public program, and I was paid as an athletic director of Suttons Bay. I was paid $30 a month, I guess it was, yeah. And it was my job to run the skating rink in the wintertime and be a lifeguard in the bathing beach in the summertime, and any other job that the town fathers wanted to assign to me. In the latter part of the Depression, it got pretty darn tight. There was one year my dad, his parishioners had no money, so we got bushels of food. They brought it in. And we canned and we tightened up everything. Yeah. We did not spend any money on anything to speak of. It was just one pair of shoes and maybe one pair of pants. We had our own chickens, I know. We started growing our own chickens in the backyard. It was my job to chop off a chicken's head when there was time to have a chicken dinner and help pluck the feathers. I never was very fond of chicken after that. I learned to like it eventually. You know, when you're growing up, the awareness of what was going on comes on you gradually. It hit the adults, I'm sure, you know, just overnight. But for kids, it was, you could feel a sort of a depression in the household. They didn't laugh like they used to. My dad used to laugh all the time and take us on fishing trips and hunting trips. And used to be jokes around the family. Depression times, God, it was like the old Puritan days of yore, I guess. Yeah. They walked around, bad looks on their face.
When you think back on your entire life, what important social or historical event had the greatest impact on you?
Well, I guess it would be Franklin Roosevelt's program, which came in.
And how did that change your life?
It gave me a chance to have a job in the Depression, which gave me a chance to build up a little nest egg in which I could use to go to college. And University of Michigan, the tuition at the time was $50 a semester. Can you believe that? Of course, I worked a couple jobs while I was in school, and then I was able to borrow money from the university at a very, very reasonable rate to finish my college training. So there was help along the way, and I think everybody needs help along the way to get going, in my opinion. If your family's rich, well, you're getting the help from your family.
Yeah.
If you're not, why, you need a little help from outside forces of some form.